In today's video, I want to talk about my build I'm currently using for Amara in Borderlands 3. It involves all around the Hellwalker and the Entranced Cosmic Phase Zerker class mod, which I only have level 16 because I am unlucky apparently, but this one still does the job. It's also based on all around survivability and using your phase cast. So starting off, my Hellwalker shotgun actually is anointed, and on every action skill in my weapon status effect and chances increased 75% for a short time, which is insane with one of the perks that I'm going to talk about. And then I actually have an anointed rerouter, which every time my action skill ends, the cooldown is increased by 20% for a short time, so I get even more cooldown rate, which is just nuts for this build. I'm only using this shield for that sole reason. I don't really have a better shield at the moment, but I will later in the game. And then, like I said, this class mod, what this does, every time I pop my phase cast, I get max rush stacks, which is going to be 25. And as you see, I get 3% weapon damage and 10% action cooldown rate per rush stack. So that is an insane amount of cooldown rate and a decent amount of weapon damage. And then I just use this blue artifact so I can slide faster, which pairs real well with the Vanquisher, because obviously you get 20% increased slide speed, which is real nice. And the only thing this build that I'm about to talk about is bad at is boss damage. Well, it's not really bad at, it's just not as good as some other builds. So for that case, of course, I use the pipe bomb, which just shreds bosses right now, but eventually I'll get changed and the build's going to change. But for now, I'm just going with this. So getting into the skills, we're obviously going to get phase cast. Now, I personally use this one right here because I get plus 50% damage each time enemies hit, and that pairs real well with the mod I have on, which makes every time I hit an action skill, every time I do action skill damage, I create an elemental nova based on my action skill, and it's just explosions. I just kind of like explosions. It probably would be better if you pair with soul sap, but you kind of already have a lot of survivability. You don't really need soul sap. But anyway, first off, I put 5 points into do harm. It gives you your more action skill damage, 5.9% per stack, which goes to 25 as soon as you pop the action skill, which is going to make your action skill do an insane amount of damage. And then I have one in violent tapestry, which you might think is kind of dumb because it's just 1 point and that's all I'm putting in it, but it's not. I don't really care about the elemental effect chance. I only want to proc it once so I can keep the 25 stacks going. That's the only reason I have 1 point in this skill, and I always proc it because of the anointed Hellwalker I have. And I have one action skill point, so I just threw it in fast hands. It's a decent perk. Then I put 3 in transcend, so every time I pop my phase cast, I get more accuracy and critical hit damage, which is just nuts because it's already doing a lot of damage. It's going to strip shields off of tanky enemies, and you can just aim the Hellwalker and basically one-shot most enemies. Then I'm going to put 5 in restless to get 25% more cooldown rate, which pairs real well with the shield. And then I put Signet on, just it increases all our augments. So that's just a decent perk to have. I get bigger explosions or more health, whichever one you want to use. Then Laid Bear is also very good because every time you hit an enemy with your phase cast, it debuffs them and you do 25% more damage to the enemy from everything. Even your friends even do more damage. Like, it's an insane skill. It's very cool. And then I get Wrath to get a ton of gun damage, even more when I pop my action skill. And then the Awakening to make my rush stacks even better, to make me do even more action skill damage, which is just insane. I also get more elemental effect chance, which doesn't really matter, but I have it. And then Avatar, which lets me pop my action skill twice before it's cooled down, and I get 10 more stacks, and that's what gets us to 25. Like, and you get a ton of damage from that. It is insane. And then going over to the next skill tree, in Fist of Elements, I put 3 into Steady Hands. You might put it somewhere else. I just like in the Steady Hands to get the accuracy because it literally makes the Hellwalker a sniper after you pop your action skill and you have the skill. Plus the handlings are nice since you're already using a shotgun. And with the class mod, I just have 1 point in here. It doesn't really matter because I'm going to do one-shot things anyway. And then into the tankiness on Brawl, I have Clarity, which gives me health regeneration every time I pop my action skill. You can see a trend here. I get even more health regeneration, which is just nuts because you're going to be popping your action skill all the time. Then also every time I pop my action skill with Helping Hands, I get 40% damage reduction, which is just insane, for 15 seconds, and we most of the time have our action skill back by them. And then we have Samsara, which every time we damage an enemy with our action skill, we get even more gun damage. This is per enemy hit, which pairs real well with this one, because per enemy hit, we get even more damage to our action skill. And we're also getting health regeneration with this skill, which is even more survivability. And then since we're using a shotgun, I'm getting personal space to get just 36% more damage up close, since we're going to be up close the majority of the time. And then finally, I put mindfulness in to get shield regeneration delay back, which is also going to pair real with the shield we're currently using, which might change the rerouter, because every time our shield's full, we get 120% more damage. It's an amp shield. And then plus the main thing, we get more movement speed every stack of this, 4.2%, and it goes up to 5 times, which is just insane. Like, you move so quick, especially with the artifact and the vanquisher. You move so fast, like, it's actually insane. And like I said, I'm just using Revelation just to make AoE explosions. Just, it's for fun for enemies grouping up, because I really don't need the survivability, because you already have so much health regeneration and damage reduction. It's actually insane. And then I'm just using the shock element for my action skill, just to strip shields off of tanky enemies, so I can just get them down. And then the Hellwalker obviously does solar, so it does an insane amount of damage to flesh, depending on the modifier on Mayhem. And this build is for Mayhem 3. You can easily run this build in Mayhem 3 and get through it with ease. Like, you can fly through some things, especially with the movement speed. Like I said, the only thing is the boss DPS, like, and that's what I have the pipe bomb for. It is the only thing that struggles with. You need survivability, you have it. You need at clear, you have it. You need fun factor, you have it. You run around and just kill people with the shotgun constantly. Like, I don't know what else you want for fun. You just W key everything. But anyway, that is the build. I'm going to show some gameplay now, so you can kind of see what you're getting into. There's probably some better things I might get spec around. This is just personally what I felt like I enjoy the most, and it's working out for me real well. I've beaten the whole campaign on Mayhem 3. I've farmed so many items that I've had to sell because we don't have enough vault space. Gearbox, please. But anyway, guys, that's going to be all. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.